My psychic medium readings today reported that the gang stalkers are planning to run 10,000 more people, families out of their home in the next year by next June. My reading says they're planning to take 10,000 more people or 10,000 more families out of their homes they own and bought apartments they rented by next June. They have already run thousands out of their homes with their framing who they robbed blind. And readings say, the gang stalkers say, they are focusing on mostly single moms who filed for a divorce, who went and bought a house, who got a NAGAM loan they think is dumb and stupid. And that's who they're setting up, even though the bank approved the loan, they own the house, they bought it, they had the money for it, they had loan approval, the loan funded, they live there with their family happily, they own it, and it went fine. And they're saying if they don't qualify with them for a 20 or 30-year great fixed rate mortgage, then they set them up. They say they hate them so much for getting a loan when they buy a house that they say will escalate. They lie they're dumb and stupid, they frame them, and they lie they have to get a hold of finances and rob them blind, run them out of the house and home with hatred. And they say they lie they do loan evaluations on the people they focus on. That means the targeted individuals who they target. And they say they do a loan evaluation to see how much extra funds they'll have for spending money, and that if they can't qualify or couldn't have qualified for their 20, 30-year great fixed rate mortgage programs, then they run them out of house and home, and that they're doing this to a lot of people. So, and this is an organized crime ring because they organize their crimes. They victimize people, frame, slander, catnap, run them out, and then rob them blind from then on. And they do fraud postal liens and rob their mail and money out of it. They loot their UPS, FedExes, steal their money. They deposit all the robbed money in bank accounts they made secretly and lie they're running the finances for the family. And they say they're doing it because they were dumb and stupid to buy the house they bought. And when they already bought it, they already own it, they already got loan approval. And readings say they sit around saying they hate them so much for just grabbing a loan on the house they bought instead of consulting with others. And they say that's the type they focus on and set up, and who they run out of house and home. And my question is, how could the banks allow this? How can the banks who loaned the money to a home buyer, approved them, funded the loan, they lived there, the title recorded, they qualified, had the money down, FICO score, how could somebody else come around from another bank and lie if they didn't qualify with their bank, then they run them out when it's already done? I don't know how they can get away with this when the lender decides who they're loaning money to. And how can they come around and say that wasn't right, the loan they got? And how can they sit there, lie, and they do a loan evaluation when they already have the loan and live in the house and own it and bought it? That's what I don't get. Do the big banks that are loaning the money to homeowners not know they are doing this to the people they loan money to who bought a house? Because my readings say they sit around and find people to focus on. And that means to target. And they search divorce records to see who filed for a divorce. Then they also check home sales every day to see who bought a house. And then they check to see, is that a divorced single mother or unwed mom or unwed parents who ran and bought a house and got a NAGAM loan? And if so, that's who they'll focus on. And they, and that's who they target to run out of the house and rob blind. And they say, if they didn't get a pre-approval letter for a purchase price for a 20-30 year a fixed rate loan, then to them they're a bad person. And then they run them out of house and home and set them up to take custody away. They frame these single moms who buy houses or rent apartments or who are unwed to run them out of house and home and frame them to take custody away when they're nice, good parents. And when buying a house is not a crime, if somebody's approved for the loan and bought it and own it, and it's a done deal, they did nothing wrong. They do the same thing with credit reports. Reading says they also focus on them if they keep funds in the bank when they buy a house and don't put all the money down on the house. And if they buy clothes and furniture, when they have bill balances they're not paying down that they see on their credit reports they run without all the people's permission. And they sit around night and day seeing who do they hate, who do they run out of house and home and rob blind. And they say they're the mortgage broker evaluating team, finding families to run out of house and home, 1,000 a month, 10,000 within the next year, by saying they shouldn't have got that mortgage or bought that house. They think they should go to them, their type of bank, for a 20-30 year great fixed rate loan and get a pre-qualification letter, pre-approval loan letter for a purchase price. And then they'll tell them how much to shop for when they go to buy a house. And they say that's the name of their game. They don't care what other banks say. They don't like NAGAM loans or 100% financing. They might do. They don't like when a single mom buys a house that's a NAGAM loan to keep the payment low that'll go up in 10 years or 5 years. They don't like that they're in that situation and they lie they're dumb and stupid and have to get a hold of finances and set them up to be a case file to take custody away because they did that. Because they got a NAGAM loan to keep their payment low, because they kept cash in the bank and didn't put it all down on the house, because they went shopping for clothes and furniture and didn't pay off a bill balance and make minimum payments. And that's who they focus on. And how can they get away with that? This is an organized crime ring running families out of house and home and robbing them blind. And how can the big lenders who loan money to buyers let them do this to the homeowners they loan money to? Is beyond me. And they say nobody knows in the banking industry because they sit calculating all day what a parent made in that year or month or week, what their mortgage payment is, and what they'll be spending the next year on college, universities they don't think of, and what their equity will be they don't think of. And they sit saying they shouldn't have gone shopping and spent $200 at once, and they shouldn't have spent a lot on stuff, is the word they use in the readings. They shouldn't have spent a lot on stuff so fast, $100 for household items to decorate and after moving in, and things like this. And they always in the readings say they wouldn't do that. They go out and buy one top at a time or one outfit at a time. Or they go downtown to the mart and spend $50 on clothes. So they hate moms who spend $100 or $200 at once, or even $80 or $400 for work suits, when these are women who've probably always done this their whole life. And they're ones who say, I'm going shopping for new clothes. Plural. planning to buy clothes to wear for a couple years to make a lot of outfits. And they're planning to buy clothes, not just one thing. And many women are like that and say they're going shopping. They need new clothes. Then they go shopping. They find clothes to go with clothes they already have. Spend $100 for 5 things or 3 things. And know it'll go with clothes they have at home, and they'll make more outfits that way. And many people do this. They invest in their clothes to dress for success, to wear the clothes a long time. So women who work, they are ones who will dress to be prosperous, to make money, who want to look their best, dress for success, invest in clothes for their business, careers, and professions. And to them, it's an investment with their money to make money. So is updating their house by decorating it and buying furniture and landscaping, planning and painting themselves even. They feel like, oh, the more my house is worth, the more equity I have. Then I'll make money in the future, in the long run. And things like this. So many people spend money to make money. They spend money on their house knowing it'll be worth more. They could take out an equity line, pay off their credit cards or car or whatever, lower their bills that way. And they feel, spending money on my house, I'll make money on my house. Spending money on clothes, I'll make more money at work. And they hate this type, who invest and think of the long run with money they spend. And they say, if somebody gets a NAGAM loan on a house quickly and they buy it and don't shop around for other loans and do pricing, then they're the ones they get run out of their house because they did that. And I was a real estate agent for 10 years, and I worked with a lot of buyers and sellers. And to me, a buyer buying a house they love is the important thing, because a loan they can get any day. They can just refinance the loan. And so I worked with, like I said, a lot of buyers. They do 100% financing. They'd put nothing down, keep a couple $100,000 in the bank from a house they sold, or they'd put 10% down, 20%, keep $40,000 in the bank. Or people do what they want for their life with their money in their house. It is supposed to be a free country in America. And many buyers go out, find the perfect house, they love it, they get loan approval. Many buyers go with the loan they got in their hand, and they say, I'm going to buy the house with this loan, I'll just refinance it later. Why? Because they love the house, is why. And many people do this. And they just use whatever loan they get approved for. When they buy a house they like or love and want, they just go with whoever gave them loan approval for whatever loan it is, and then say, I'll just refinance it later. Okay, that is how a NAGAM loan is. A NAGAM loan keeps a buyer's payment low for 5 to 10 or 7 years. NAGAM loans are ones that are designed for people who will make more money later. And I was taught this as a real estate agent by a mortgage broker who said, NAGAM loans are designed to keep a buyer's payment low who will make more money later when their income goes up. So that is somebody starting a business who knows 5, 7 years they'll be making more money. They could cover the payment if they haven't refinanced it. That is somebody who knows 7 years my children will be my teenagers will be grown-up adults. I'll have more time to work and make more money. I could cover the payment. I'll double my income. NAGAM loans are made for people who will make more money later. And reading says they run people out of house and home if they got a NAGAM loan, and they don't even know what their plan is. And how could they do that? People just want a house they love. And a NAGAM loan, well, that's how they operate. And people refinance them before they go up often. They might refinance it to a new NAGAM, keep it low another 7 years. And by that time, who knows what position this buyer will be in 14 years later. They could have won the lotto, paid the house off, they could have gotten inheritance money, they could have tripled their income, they could have sold a big screenplay or who knows, anything, a song, and they don't know their plans. They might have married a billionaire. They don't know what the future holds. They don't know what'll happen with the NAGAM loan. Many people get a NAGAM loan on a house they love or like and think, oh, I'm probably going to sell it in 5 years. And many say, I'll just refinance it to a different loan. I just want the house. And NAGAM loans are usually, I believe, stated income loans. 20, 30-year fixed rate loans, they want 3 years of your tax returns. They are much stricter and harder to get approved for. And NAGAM loans are not, and that is a big difference. So many say, I love the house, I'll get the NAGAM loan, I'll just refinance it later. So they could plan to fix up the house so it's worth more in the appraisal, to pay the loan down, to increase their income, and get a fixed loan later on, 5 or 10 years later. It's their life, it's their house, it's their money. And they decide to run them out because they don't like what they did when another bank approved the money they loaned the homeowner, the buyer. How can they do this to people? It is not fair at all. And fixed rate loans, 20, 30-year fixed rate loans, readings say they like buyers who put all their money down and only keep 10 or 20,000 in the bank. And they get a great fixed rate, and they save interest during their lifetime on a conservative fixed rate loan where they want 3 years of your tax returns, where they're a lot stricter than other loans. And that is why people often get whatever loan they're approved for and say, oh well, I'll just refi later. I love the house, my payment's low. I might sell in 5 years. I'll double my income in 5, 7 years. It'll be fine. And you get a bigger tax write-off too, often. NAGAM loan, they might have a huge interest write-off on their taxes. And they write off their gross income. Many are thinking, what can I write off on my taxes every year with this NAGAM loan? How much mortgage interest can I write off? And they're seeing that. And a 20, 30-year fixed conservative loan with 3 years of tax returns that certain banks do, who don't do NAGAM loans, those loans are for people who want to stay in the house forever and have a permanent loan for the rest of their life, so the house is paid off when they're old and retired and have no income. Because when you're old with no income, you cannot refinance without income. So a person who is old, yes, they need a fixed loan. They need their house paid off very low. Because an old person with no income who's retired could not refinance, is why. So to me, a 20-year fixed loan or 30-year fixed, that is a permanent loan for a person who wants to pay their house off so they have no mortgage when they are old. Okay? Now, young families buying homes, they could get a NAGAM loan, keep the payment low for 3 to 5, not 3, 5, 7, or 10 years before it would go up. And they might say, well, my income will double by then. My kids will be in college. They'll be driving and working, and I'll work more. I'll make more money. I could cover the payment when it goes up in 7 years. They might say that. And they might say, I'll refi to a fixed before it goes up. Or I'll get another neg-am loan, a fixed later. And I'll just refinance it. Then they might be paying off things on their credit report. Then they might say, well, I'll pay my car off, I'll pay this credit card bill down, and things like this. They prepare to refinance to a fixed. Many people run and refinance to a fixed loan when the rates are low. Like during COVID, they were 2.5, I believe. Now somebody with a neg-am loan, they might have said, oh, great time to refi to a fixed, 2.5. What's my payment? Okay? And that's when they would run and refi. The point is, it is very wrong for this criminal organized crime ring to lie. They do mortgage broker evaluations on homeowners who already own their home, already bought it, were already loaned the money. When they don't know what the future holds, they don't know if they're going to marry a billionaire or win the lotto or double their income when their kids are in high school and college, when they have more time to work. They don't know if they're going to sell the house, make money, and buy another house. They don't know if they're going to sell a big family home, the neg-am loan, when their kids are in college, and get the cash and buy a condo with the cash, do they? They don't know what the homeowner plans are. And they jump the gun, pull the rug out from under them, and they're planning to do it to 10,000 more people who were already loaned the loan by a lender. Now, how could they do that to people that were approved, who live in the house, who own it, and who bought it? It's beyond me. But that is what my readings say that they are doing with this crooked gang stalker ring. And they are lying. If a person, like a single mom who filed for divorce, or unwed parent or parents, ran and bought a house fast and got a neg-am loan without shopping around and doing pricing and getting a pre-approval letter for a purchase price first, they're lying. They're a very bad person. And that's the type they run out and say they did all that without thinking. So they're lying there, a dumb idiot, and getting hold of their finances to rob them blind with hatred. That's what they're doing to a lot of homeowners in this country. They're planning to do it to 10,000 more. As they are sickening, disgusting, greedy pigs is what they are, who frame people and rob them blind and lie people are dumb and stupid if they bought a house fast without shopping around and getting pricing and a pre-approval letter for a purchase price. When, as I said, I was a realtor for 10 years. It's every real estate agent's dream to do an open house, have a buyer walk in, write an offer, and then they hand them a flyer. You could call these mortgage brokers and see if you can get a loan. They call, get a pre-approval letter. They might just use whoever was on the flyer. Great, I got a loan approval, perfect, I love the house. I'll just refinance it later. They don't care. They want a house they love. They're going to make a big mortgage payment. They want to love the house. And so they are planning to do this to 10,000 more homeowners who bought a house with their hard-earned money that they like or love. And they are planning to pull the rug out from under them, run them out of house and home, lie they're dumb and stupid because they bought a house so fast, because they didn't shop around and do pricing, get a pre-approval letter for a great 20, 30-year locked-in mortgage rate. The loans they do, where they say they do evaluating on purchases that single moms and unwed parents make on properties. And they sit there lying there dumb and stupid because they got a NAGAM loan? Because they kept cash in the bank and didn't put it down on the house to have a lower mortgage balance? How could that be? It's supposed to be a free country. It's their money. It's their property. They put down normally. A buyer puts down whatever they have to put down to qualify. Often that's the case. And if the mortgage broker is doing their loan, who got a pre-approval, says you need to put this amount down, 20% or 15% or 30% or whatever it is, then they put down what they have to. And they might say, keep 40, 80 grand reserves in the bank. Don't put it all down. Keep your cash in the bank. And I believe many banks who lend homeowners money, buyers, they like reserves in the bank. They like to know there's money there to pay the mortgage if there's an emergency, like an earthquake, a fire, flood, or COVID, or recession. And a lender says, wow, 40, 80,000 reserves in the bank, then I'll loan them the money, because they'll have money in the bank to cover the mortgage if need be. And they sit saying they're bad people because they didn't put all their cash down, because they didn't shop around and do pricing. When buyers, they do whatever they want. I had buyers that did 100% financing. I think they have interest-only loans and 40-year loans, and they do whatever they want that works for them. It's their life, their money, and their house or condominium. And they decide what is best for them. They decide if the payment is good for them. And these criminal gang stalkers plot and plan to run them out of house and home and lie they're dumb and stupid and need to get a hold of finances and set them up to CPS and DCFS to be a not needed case file to take custody away because they did that? Because they bought a nice home for their family and kept cash in the bank to spend on their kids, to have a happy family life? Because they bought furniture and decorated and planted flowers and painted so their kids would enjoy the house, and they want to run them out? If they spend $100 on household items at once, like plants and rugs and placemats, they put them down to target them, to run them out and take custody away with framing and slandering, to rob their money, to lie they have to control finances secretly because they spent $100 at Big Lots or Target when they're good parents, making the house nice for their kids. They are cheap and stingy, greedy pigs. These gang stalkers, they rob all the homeowners. They run out of house and home blind. They steal 199 targeted persons mail from the post office and sit robbing their cash and checks out of it all day in their jobs and deposit in their secret accounts and lie they're running finances for people who had troubles in their life. They bought a house that cost too much so fast without thinking. And they thought the house payment was too high. They thought they're dumb and stupid for getting a NAGAM loan, not shopping around doing pricing and things like this when it is normal. Buyers shop for a house on Realtor.com. They look in the paper. Realtors send them listings. And they shop and shop and shop and plan. And they get the house they want for their family, happily. And they say, I'll just go with whoever I get a pre-approval letter from for the loan. I'll refinance it later. Or they might say, time it goes up, my income will be more, my kids will be in college. Or my business income will be up by then. Or they say, oh, 5 years, I'm going to sell and buy. And many people do that. Or I'll refinance it before it goes up. I'll update the house, get a high appraisal, double my income, refinance to a fixed in 10 years. Okay? There are many ways of getting a loan for a house and many plans the buyers have for their loan. It is not their way or the highway. And my readings say this organized crime gang stalker ring are framing homeowners who get a NAGAM loan, who buy a house fast, when it's probably not fast. They've probably been looking on Realtor.com for months or years for the right house. And they know the house they want, the style, the square footage, the lot size, the area, the school district, and city and county. Bingo! Perfect house comes up. Meets all their buyers' criteria. Then they say, I want that house. I want to go see it today. And then they run, see it, write an offer, get a loan with whoever gives them loan approval, and buy the house. And they run and do it fast. When they see it listed on Realtor.com or their real estate agent sends it to them, and they do it fast because they want the house, because they like it or love it, because they don't want someone else to buy it, is why. And that's why they run and hurry, because they're very smart people who stay on top of things. They're people who know what they want in their life. And they see what they want, they hurry, write an offer fast as they can. They get loan approval with whoever they get the approval from, and they say, I'll just refi later. I love the house. And they are targeting this type of person, as they say, they should be getting a pre-approval letter for the purchase price to get a great rate for a 20, 30-year fixed loan, when that is not always the case. And as I said, I was a real estate agent for 10 years, and I was taught you're not even allowed to tell a buyer what to do. You are not allowed to tell them to get a NAGAM or fixed loan or what to offer on a house. It is their decision, not the realtor's decision. It certainly wouldn't be a mortgage broker's decision either. And that's how I worked as a realtor. When a buyer found a house and wrote an offer on it that I wrote, I would give them a couple different mortgage brokers, business cards or flyers, and say, here's a couple mortgage brokers, you get a fixed loan or an NAGAM, talk to them, here's your payment estimates I ran, the approximate payments, because I ran those every week, the purchase price, money down, interest rate, 20 or 30, 40-year loan. And I ran payment sheets for my buyers all the time. I'd hand them to them when I showed them houses. If I showed them houses for $850, I'd say, here's the payments on a $850 sales price. So they'd get an idea. They want to put 20% down, 30, they want a 40-year loan or 30-year loan, or I would run like 10 scenarios, because guess what? It is their choice. They decide what loan they want, what house they want to write an offer on, and how much they want to put down. Often a mortgage broker will tell them, for this purchase price and this loan amount, and you need to put this much down. Okay? The point is, buyers have choices, lots of choices. And supposed to be a free country in America. You're not supposed to have these wild banshee, predator violator, gang stalker crooks running around, framing nice good homeowners who bought a house they love to run them out and rob them blind and take their kids' custody away with their liar, dirty mouths. And that's what they're doing. And they are doing this to women they hate. And they hate them for keeping cash in the bank and for not putting it all down when they buy a house. They hate them for not paying down bills and paying bills balances off, for making minimum payments. They hate them for spending $100 or $200 all at once on household items for the family home, and for buying furniture fast when they buy a new house, and for buying a lot of clothes at once. They hate them for all of that. That's who they target. That's who they do in. That's who they frame to take custody away, run out of house and home to rob them blind with hatred. And that's what it is. It is hate crimes, and it is with greediness, because they are robbing all the targeted individuals' money, who they hate because of the house they bought, that they were so happy they bought. They loved the house. They bought it. They owned it. They had the money for it. They had a loan approval letter. They had a fine mortgage payment. And they say they got to run them out because it'll be escalating in 9 years. Okay? By 9 years, their income could double or triple. They could marry a billionaire, win the lotto, or sell a book or movie, or who knows what could happen in 9 years. And they jump the gun, pull the rug out, take custody, frame them and rob them blind with hatred, and lie they're dumb and stupid because they got a negam loan, bought a house fast without thinking, and say they should have shopped around and done pricing and consulted with several mortgage brokers to see where they could save money. When they didn't want to rock the boat, they went with whoever got them loan approval. Okay, houses you love don't fall out of trees, but loans do. You can refi your loan, it's no big deal. The important thing is to get a house you love. They don't care what the loan fees are, do they? No, they want the house they like for their family. And this is the type they target and hate and want to do in. And these energetic women who go out and buy curtains, curtain rods, rugs, and placemats, and slipcovers, and who paint and plant flowers and make the house a home, who run around and decorate when they move in, they hate them for doing these nice things for their kids in their family home, and say they should have got a 20, 30-year great fixed locked-in rate to pay their mortgage balance down. They should think of interest they'll pay in their lifetime. They're not thinking of that, are they? They're not. They're thinking of enjoying their life in their family home with their kids. That's what they're thinking of. They're thinking of getting loan approval for the house they love that's perfect. They're not thinking of when they're old and gray and they need to be in a house with no mortgage, are they? No. Many people, kids grow up, they sell the big family home and get $500,000 or whatever cash from it. They go pay all cash for a little one-story near their kids with families. Many people do that. That is normal. It is not their life to judge what kind of house they bought or loan they got. It is not their business to be in. And it's very wrong just to judge a person in their loan. Very, very wrong. That alone, that's a violation of privacy. They run credit reports without permission, readings say. They are planning to run 10,000 more families out of their homes by next May or June, my reading said today. And they are sitting there picking up mail at 9 a.m., 8 a.m. at post offices. 199 targeted individuals. And they sit around all day robbing their money out of letters addressed to these targeted individuals. They loot their UPS FedExes with fraud liens. They frame them to CPS, DCFS to take custody from these nice, loving parents who bought lovely family homes for their kids to be happy in. It's hard to fathom. And they rob PayPal, Cash App, Venmo by hacking and send it to the mortgage broker, so-called evaluator's email, who sits robbing the targeted individual's PayPal. And they are sending it out to people in their 2 or more lied thumbs up conspiracy, the robbed PayPal they stole from families by hacking, sending it to them to lie and brainwash the USA. And very scary, everyone's in danger. So cannot the big lenders that are loaning homeowners money when they buy a house, can they not do something about this? How could the secret mortgage department come back and say, we evaluated this property the parent bought and we feel the price was too high, they should have spent less, put more down, got a fixed loan, and put all their cash down, not get money in the bank, and so on. How can they come back and do that when the loan was already approved and funded and they own it and live in the house with their family? How can they come back and lie it's wrong when another lender said it was right? That is beyond me. And how can they lie someone's a bad person if they have a bill balance when it says pay the minimum payment by this date? Okay? What does that mean? That means it is allowed. It is allowed to pay the minimum payment. It does not say pay the bill balance off or else. Pay the minimum by this date. And they lie they're bad if they don't pay the bill balance down or off when it says you must make a minimum payment? And they lie they're bad for a loan they got that's fine, that's not going to go up for 5, 7, or 10 years? And they don't know what the future holds. They don't know if they're going to sell and buy something else, or they don't know if they will marry a billionaire or triple their income or start a new business. Or they have no idea what the future holds. And that's who they're targeting. My readings have said, I have experienced it. I was run out of house and home. I am a targeted individual who has experienced this. Unfortunately, and I'm robbed blind since, obviously. And my reading says they rob all of my money by hacking my PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, by stealing my mail and money out of it, and looting my UPS FedExes. Money that is sent for work I have done as a medium. And Fox Taylor family victims' money for the stalked family. The reading says they sit around stealing all the money that is sent for what they did to the people. They are a wicked, organized crime ring doing this crookery beneath the scenes. And my readings say the same thing every day. I have experienced this. I bought a house, and it was the perfect house. I got loan approval. I was a real estate agent. My payment ended up being $26.50 a month. For 7 years, it was going to be that payment. And My payment on the house I sold, the two-story, was more. It was $28.50 a month. And I bought a beautiful house, $1 million home. I had the cash down. I had the 790 FICO score I worked on a year. I had the real estate income. I qualified. I got loan approval with Countrywide that became Bank of America. And I bought the house with flying colors. Piece of cake. It went great. $26.50 a month mortgage payment. My two-story tract home was $28.50 a month. I had homeowner dues once a year at the $1 million house. Two-story house, I had HOA dues, I believe, every 4 months. So I was very happy when I bought a house I loved, and I had the cash down for my two-story and real estate income, qualified with Countrywide Bank of America, and had a $26.50 month payment, not going up for 7 years. And I plan to refinance it before then. And what did I do as a realtor? I ran my buyer payment sheet right after I wrote the offer. I ran my sheet, the real cost of home ownership per year. Great, I can write $40,000 off of my mortgage interest off my taxes. Perfect. And that was smart. And my reading says they decided to frame me, target me, and run us out of house and home, and did. And in '05, the mailbox was smashed on the ground. Smashed on the ground again in '06, Easter break week, right after that. Car break-in, property stolen, cat snapped. Labor Day '08, slandered set up to DCFS, lies dismissed without prejudice. They did that to us. They ruined our life completely. And my reading says, they say they all got in on it. They were mad as single mom bought a $1 million house. And they were mad I spent money and updated it and bought furniture. When I planned to do that, it was my last house I was ever going to buy, that I loved so much, that I shopped for 4 years. I knew exactly how I wanted a house to look, planned it out, and found my perfect house. And I knew, and it was original and dated, and so were the other houses I'd written offers on before then. And I said, I'm doing hardwood, pavers, and plastering, and to create the look I wanted, and that's what I did. And I bought furniture for the family room, and got it done, ready, set, to have our happy life in the house, to live in it. And my reason says they hated me for doing all these nice things for my family, for getting the family room furniture, dining room furniture, a desk and everything all together, for my kids and I to enjoy our life in the house. Everything I did was as a good parent. I worked hard to buy it. I worked hard up getting it updated. I ran around and bought furniture with lists and a budget, planned it all out. I didn't put all my cash down. I kept money in the bank from the two-story house and said, I'm going to spend $40,000 updating the house, $3,000 on furniture. My reader says they hated me for that I didn't put it all down on the house, when I wanted the house to enjoy our lives. And I was very happy with the way it turned out. Everything was wonderful. And they wanted to ruin everything I was so happy about, and did. And that's a fact. And it's unbelievable. 4 pairs of my True Religion jeans were stolen from my walk-in closet. About $1,000 worth of clothes were robbed. My car was broken into in the driveway. $500 worth of property stolen. Stalkers stalked and stared at the mailbox, obviously to rob my mail and money out of it and identity. Cats went missing when stalkers were there, Labor Day '08. In '09, I was framed and slandered and set up to be a not-needed case file. All the lies were dismissed without prejudice. Then I don't get mail or money, as I should since. And my readings say they robbed me blind. And they're doing this to thousands of targeted individuals in the country. And they say the minute they set them up, they take almost every penny from then on. That is hard to believe. And my reading says they framed me or decided to set me up when I was doing my own banking, and they lied about what I was doing. And that's what they do too. They sit around in parking lots and observe what people are doing, who they're targeting to rob blind and take custody from, all the very nice, good parents. And they just write down what they think someone's doing when they don't know what they're doing. And my reading says, when I went and dropped off a bill at a Wachovia branch, a check for $120, my reading said they lied. She's zooming down to take money out of the bank. That's it. Set her up. I was dropping off a check. And that's what they do. They just sit there and see if they see somebody go to the bank, deposit their paycheck, and take cash out, walk across the parking lot, put it in their other bank account. They would frame them with that. They're just doing normal banking. They're just buying furniture for their house they just bought. That is normal things Americans do, is it not? And they're trying to run out 10,000 more people, and they are sitting there in a mortgage broker office by county line, robbing money from 199 targeted individuals, and say they're running their finances secretly because they bought a house so fast without thinking. They lie that the targeted people are dumb and stupid because they didn't get a 20, 30-year great fixed rate with their bank. Okay? Hard to fathom. So hopefully the lenders will know this. Hopefully all the fashion designers will too. Will know they're targeting people who buy a lot of clothes at once. And they lie they're dumb and stupid and not thinking for doing that. They lie they're bad if they're moms who spend money on themselves, when they might buy clothes and wear them 2 or 5 years. They might do this their whole life. That is the point. The targeted people are just being themselves. They are ones who would always go to Big Lots or Target and spend $100 at once on household items. They might always do it their whole life once a year. Time to go to Big Lots, spend $100. Buy gift bags and wrapping paper and mugs and placemats and rugs and spend $100. Many people do that and save probably $500 a year. So they target people that are doing things to save money. Many of them go to a clothing store and buy $100 or $200 worth of clothes off of when there's a 40% off sale. And they would lie they're bad for buying a lot at once when they might have saved $200 and wear the clothes for years to come. To them it's an investment to dress for success, to be prosperous. And they're always this way in their life. And they target people who are just being themselves and lie they're dumb and stupid and bad persons when no, they are not. They are living their life the way they always have since they became an adult age. And they might always be ones to go out and spend $100 at once and to run around and decorate when they move in a new place. And that's their personality. They are ones with energy. They are ones who want to make a place look the way they want it to look. They want to get it done. They want to go out with lists and shop and have it finished. And that's who they target. Hardworking, motivated, productive people who go out and buy a lot to get the house finished, to have furniture to sit on and placemats and flowers by the front door, and they hate them for doing all these nice things for their family, for buying a nice home for their family, for buying a house with large bedrooms for their kids, and lie they gotta run them out because the payment's going up in 9 years because they didn't get a great fixed rate and put all their cash down on the house when they don't have to. People do whatever they want with their money. They put down what they have to put down to get the loan. Some people put more down than they have to. And like I said, I was a realtor for 10 years. I told my buyers, it's their choice. You can get a NAGAM loan or a fixed. You get a 20, 30, or 40-year loan. You could do 100% financing if you want, if you're approved for it. You decide what you're putting down. The mortgage broker would tell you what you have to put down. I would give them literally 10 buyer estimate sheets for all types of loans and say, here, you decide what kind of loan you want. You're not supposed to tell somebody what to do. You're certainly not supposed to judge them after they bought a house when the lender funded the loan. They own the property, it recorded. They live there with their family happily. And they want to jump the gun, pull the rug out from under them. And my readings have said they steal clothes from houses. Well, I know that. My clothes were stolen. And reading says they frame them with the clothes they steal. And send photos all over town. And send the people stolen money they robbed from the targeted individuals to vote yes, thumbs up on the outfits. They're fake outfits. They lie they wore clothes they didn't wear to frame them. And they are judgmental sinners who need to learn to mind their own business so everybody can live out the American dream. That's to own a family home. And that's a fact. People in America want the American dream to own a home. And that's what they're ruining. And they're planning to run 10,000 more out in the next year. So I'm praying that they are caught for their crookery. And I'm Nancy Gail Fox, aka Fox-Taylor, the Medium for God individual owner, Los Angeles County, California, United States of America. I am a targeted individual, and we were run out of house and home. I experienced the crimes they committed against us. As I've explained a million times over, my reading says they're robbing all my Fox-Taylor family victims' money, sent for my letters I've sent for 17 years, that is sent for what they did to us to repair what they ruined. And they are doing this to 1,009 targeted women right now and their family members. And they are doing this to 199 individuals at a post office with a list. And they say they're running the following people's finances, thereby they're taking their mail. They don't want them to have a lot of money because they ran and bought a house so fast and they saw that as dumb and stupid, and they spent too much on clothes and furniture, and they kept cash in the bank they should have paid bills down with. So they see them as very bad persons for living like that, when they always live like that. They always pay a minimum payment. They're always wanting to keep reserves in the bank for the next month's bills, or to stay ahead of themselves, to not have stress. They'll buy clothes they love on sale and save money. They'll buy a lot at Target or Big Lot all at once to have it for the whole year to save $500. They'll buy a house or rent an apartment or buy a condominium they love that's right for their family. They're ones who work hard, who enjoy paying every penny of their mortgage. They like the tax write-off, the mortgage interest. They think of things like this. They think of building up a closet to dress for success. And they hate this type of person who do what they love in life, who buy flowers they love and plant them by the front door, who buy colors they love and clothes they buy, who buy a house they love or an apartment, get an apartment they love, and that's who they hate. People with passion within, people with a heart and soul, people who do what feels right. And they see a house they love, they like the trees, they like the feeling of it, they like the floor plan, and they like the design, they feel good in it, they're happy, it's right for their family home, they buy it, they're approved, and they want to run them out.